The more I watch this trailer, the more I like it. We have so much to discuss. And the first thing I want to talk about is that, yes, something's off about Doctor Strange. At first, I felt that maybe he did this cockamamie irresponsible spell because, he's a bit of a daredevil. Let's not forget that's what got him in trouble in the first place. So as soon as Wong told him not to do something, he wanted to do it. But I don't think that's it. As I watched this trailer over a couple of times to do this breakdown, I had an epiphany. Now, this is not something I've heard from a source. This is a theory of mine. So I just want to make that clear. I don't want anyone to be like, you ruined it, Grace. This is my theory. Although I think I'm right. Evil Doctor Strange. Thank you very much. We know he's coming, and what if? He might already be here. So I don't know if this is necessarily Doctor Strange. It would explain his god-awful wig. Evil Doctor Strange has a really bad-looking wig. But anyway, there is something off, right? And why wouldn't he explain the spell and why wouldn't he explain the deal that Peter was making? When he says, Parker, be careful what you wish for, Parker, that sounds like a deal with the devil. Which, by the way, as some of you pointed out, brilliantly is a reference to the Spider-Man classic hated story, so I don't know why anybody would adapt it. One More Day, which was a deal with who? Mephisto! Oh, he found a way in here after all. What if evil Doctor Strange is Mephisto? Oh my God! If it all comes together like that, Kevin Feige, he's a genius, man. That's amazing. But yeah, I think it might be evil Doctor Strange who's causing all these problems, and that maybe Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will be focusing on an evil Doctor Strange, and we'll have to wonder where good Doctor Strange is. Is Wanda with evil Doctor Strange? Is she helping us fight? We thought Wanda was going to maybe be the big bad. Maybe let's see what happens. But I think that Doctor Strange we can't deny that there's something wrong with him here. And I think that's a good explanation. Again, he's going to show up, evil Doctor Strange, and what if? And maybe he pulled the old switcheroo. That would be great. That would be a little bit like Secret Invasion. But I would hate it if they undercut Secret Invasion. But this idea that some multiverse characters have already taken their counterparts' places here in our universe. All right, so anyway, it's fascinating. All right, and we're only on the teaser. Love it. This is, having a bigger connected story allows us to have these conversations, which is why DC should have a larger connected story so we can do the same thing. It's like end credit scenes. These are all important. All right, so yes, it's exactly like the leaked trailer. Exactly. And it is very Peter Parker centric because, it's a Spider-Man movie. We're all like, give us MCU stuff. Because, MCU movies are becoming more and more team-ups. But hey, Doctor Strange is here, man. What do you want? However, in the comics, New York City Marvel is very much its own thing, which is why it's so awesome that Daredevil is going to show up here. Yes, I do agree. I think that's his arm. Also, I do think also that this is influenced by Into the Spider-Verse. And I'm sure Kevin Feige saw that and said, wow, they won an Oscar. They beat Disney. They beat us. Kevin Feige's like, I'm on all the winning teams. And he's like, why don't I make Into the Spider-Verse is a phenomenal film. It should have done better at the box office. I have high hopes for the sequel. Why didn't more people go see that movie? But anyway, maybe because it's animation. Why can't superhero animation click with the West? It's driving me crazy. So anyway, I think he was like, if I did that in live action, since nobody really saw this movie, I'd get all the credit. And you're like, Kevin Feige again, you're a genius. He's like, I'm both good and evil, Kevin Feige. And I'm like, I have to concur. All right, so let's break this down. There's a lot of stuff for us to go over. All right, so and share your own theories down below. All right, let's brainstorm, baby. All right. So we start off, and they're on I believe this is the roof of their school. And it's so sharp, I thought this was maybe VFX. And I checked the leaked trailer, and it's not. This is a real location. They're getting away from it all. They're reading the tabloids. They're a very nice couple, but they didn't. I love Zendaya. I'm such a big fan of Zendaya, and she was so good as the voice of Lola Bunny in Space Jam 2. I'm like, Zendaya needs to be the star of her own film. She's great as a love interest so far, but I want to see her front and center in some other movie. But here she's MJ. And boy, he sure loves her. Oh, it's the look of real love. So, I have to say, Tom Holland has a great look, as we're going to point out in another frame. So to pull focus from him, they're both extremely well cast. So she's reading about how there's a theory, that he can hypnotize women. I've never heard this about spiders. But anyway, I thought this was really cute, and she had a great reaction. It's a great, well-written character, very well acted when she's like, "Yes, Spider Master," teasing him about that. But he's under a lot of stress. He's just not having a good time. Now, this is great. Where we pick up where we left off. Oh, the comedy. I love the comedy. And again, Zendaya does this. Physical comedy is hard, and she's doing a great job. Look, she's totally covering his face, and her hair is in his eyes, so he can't see anything. But I mean, of course you'd be freaking out. He's just holding on to her with one arm. That's just absolutely fantastic. I like that they do the realistic version of this instead of the idealistic damsel in distress. Oh, it's so easy to swing through the air. Woo! I'd be like, no thanks. I agree with her about wanting to. I'll meet you there. And wow, I don't know how J. Jonah Jameson got such good distribution. He must be getting a boost from Mysterio. He's on every screen, not only revealing Spider-Man's true identity, but continuing to slander him. And look at this. Wow, it's got to be partly Mysterio. Because look, public enemy #1. That's great. Boy, I wonder if J. Jonah Jameson in this version is a true influencer and has to do all his own graphics on Photoshop. All right, so he's been arrested. You can see they're actually showing very little bit of the movie. When you go through it, you can kind of get an idea of the scenes that they've cut up here and sprinkled out to make, pad the trailer a little bit. So some of you are wondering if that does look like Matt Murdock to me. Ho, 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 ho. Although I wonder who's with him because he's not using his cane. So how's he, you'd think. So maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm curious as to who the other individual is. I think it is him. We'll see. All right. He's in the movie. So look, he's been arrested. And he's like, I didn't kill Mysterio. And they're like, those are your drones though, right? And, remember, Peter Parker was, he inherited Edith from Tony Stark, because Tony Stark died, saving the world, thank you very much, from Thanos' forces. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, Mysterio did a good job framing him. But hey, that's Mysterio. I love the new version of Mysterio. So yes, as I said, he needs a lawyer in my trailer reaction, and I believe that's him, Mr. Matt Murdock. We'll see. Peter seems to be helping with his own case. Now, this is a great shot. This is the one I wanted to highlight. Look at that jawbone. Look at that bone structure. He just pops on screen. It's phenomenal. He says he wants to be like, he very much has copied Michael J. Fox's style. He's losing it a little bit. I think that's why his character sometimes slips into annoying a little bit, like in this trailer when he breaks Doctor Strange's concentration. It's hard to be Michael J. Fox. That's why there can only be one. I just recently we watch a lot of movies, especially when we're in the pandemic. So I rewatched Back to the Future the second time during the pandemic, the trilogy. Boy, that's good stuff. But yeah, you'll notice Tom Holland's definitely basing his performance on Michael J. Fox. But here, that's all matinee idol right there. He's got the hair for it, everything. He can slap a nerdy t-shirt on him all he wants, but he looks great. More reading. Ironically, Matt Murdock can't read these files unless he was some of them are in Braille. All right. So there's his school, looking pretty great. So convenient, next to the subway. That's a huge school. Wow. So here they're having, look at them, the lovers' late night chat, FaceTiming. This is when I wanted to bring this up. So Peter Parker's secret identity, if you're familiar with the comics, has long been a problem for him. He is the only real Marvel character with an alternate, with a secret identity. It's everyone in DC has a secret identity, but in Marvel, pretty much everybody's well known, which is why it's always so weird that everyone has a problem with Peter Parker. They love all their other heroes that are unmasked. Maybe the mask causes the distrust, but he's always had a problem, Peter Parker has never hired a publicist, by the way. Oh my God, I just solved all his problems. Why doesn't he hire a publicist? I'm sure Tony Stark's, now Pepper Potts, the estate would take care of it for it, maybe. He could sell a couple drones. Although last time he gave away that technology was a real problem. So let's just ask someone to help him out. But anyway, in the comics, it's a real problem for him. But they seem to be combining a couple, because, that's what Kevin Feige likes to do. He borrows things from the comics, so you say, hey, it's comics accurate, but then he twists them to a degree that they're barely recognizable. And he gets away with it. It's incredible. But he tells such good news stories that I think that's one of the reasons he gets away with it. So we've got Civil War, with him being unmasked. Tony Stark thought that way. He's like, everyone's going to love this kid. As I recall, it did not go so. I didn't like the Civil War. It had a good setup and had a good ending, but in the middle, it was a mess in the comics. So anyway, that's one element from the comics they're doing here. And then also One More Day, where Aunt May gets shot. It's comic books. So Aunt May gets shot, and to save her, he and MJ agree to make a deal with Mephisto to erase their marriage as if it never happened. The reality being that Marvel felt they goofed, and they took all the sexual tension out of the comic. I don't believe that... I haven't read the Spider-Man comics recently because I don't like the writer on it. I forget who it is. Dan Slott was the last writer I read on there, and he did a great job. He wrote it for like years. But I haven't liked any Spider-Man comics since. But last I was reading it, he still wasn't dating Mary Jane Watson. All right, so anyway, they should introduce a Zendaya MJ because, I think that would be great. All right. So she's like, now you don't have to lie to everybody. And he's like, I didn't want to lie to everyone. Why? Everyone just hates him so much. It's weird to me. So she is a great girlfriend to stick by him during this. I mean, she is a real class act, right? She's like, the going has definitely gotten tough and I'm still here. So look at this. This is an amazing shot. What is wrong with everybody? They're surrounded by police and press helicopters. They've been cornered. How did he let that happen to himself? I guess because he had a civilian with him. She looks great there. That's a great outfit on her. If you can pull focus from a man in a Spider-Man suit, you look fantastic. All right. So at school, everyone's a big jerk. I don't know why they're playing news. I thought that was maybe a student report. I don't know why they're playing local news. I'd be like, isn't this kid hounded by this enough in the real world? And then look, it's at home too. They're watching J. Jonah Jameson YouTube videos on their television. All right. And I wonder who's coming in here to bother them. And he's like, it's causing a problem for everyone in my life. Then he has an idea. First, he was going to drink a milkshake, which I think he should do first anyway. Yeah, that nothing eases the pain like a delicious milkshake. But then, I guess because Halloween comes before Christmas, a lot of holidays apparently in this version of this entry. He sees, I'm sure Dr. Strange is like, you thought that was me? Looks more like Otto Octavius, actually. So he's like, hey, I know a wizard with a goatee. Dr. Strange. Dr. Strange should sue whoever made those because it's a knockoff of him. So there's his sanctum. He goes in, and apparently it's been some kind of snow fight. So this is great. So which Dr. Strange is this man? This is so Secret Invasion. I'm kind of annoyed a little bit that they would maybe undercut Secret Invasion in this way because I loved trying to guess who was a Skrull and who wasn't. But instead we're going to play who's a variant and who isn't. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, so anyway, I guess I'll be happy with it, Feige. All right, so he goes and it looks, so Elsa can just tell him to let it go. That's who he should have asked for advice. Just let it go, Peter, and his life would have been fine. But instead he goes to see evil Doctor Strange. I wonder who's shoveling in here. Now, this is great. So we'll talk about Doctor Strange's ensemble as it reveals itself. So we can see here he's wearing, don't worry, we'll find out what's on that mug later on in the video, in the trailer. It does not disappoint. All right, so anyway, he's got winter clothes on and a parka, but he's got his cape on over it because, he's working. So I think this is hilarious. Lights the fire himself. That wig is so bad. I can't believe that anybody in Marvel let that go. You know how I feel about that kind of stuff. It's important. All right. So he says, he's calling him sir. They have a little bit of their exchange about who they are. They had that funny thing in Infinity War. That was hilarious, their exchange there. By the way, that is a Columbia University sweatshirt that he's wearing, where, of course, Dr. Stephen Strange attended medical school. Love it. Great attention to detail. So, oh, by the way, here's his black and gold suit, which looks less black and gold than I would have thought in person. In motion. Like, you gotta make that gold pop a little bit more. It looks like you're wearing the Venom symbiote. So I believe this looks like the shelter that Aunt May has worked at. They introduced it a little bit in the last entry. That's, of course, where she eventually meets Martin Lee, who funds it, a.k.a. Mr. Negative. So if Martin Lee shows up here somewhere, I'm going to be very happy. All right, so, look, she's chasing someone, and that guy's like, you went that way, buddy. Look at this. So this is at the beginning. I think this is he gets swarmed right when they see the announcement, and then they swing off. So they're showing this sequence out of order. I'm out of order, you're out of order. I couldn't resist, I'm sorry. All right, so he's like, maybe you could just make it so that never happened? Like, why is he doing this in the crappy basement that's all messed up? I'm suspicious. I'm very suspicious. Peter should be asking these questions, but he just wants this to go away. which I think is actually pretty well written. So Wong, they literally ship Wong off on some kind of vacation or trip, which I'm a little disappointed about. He's so great in Shang-Chi. So he's like, don't do this spell, it's dangerous. And I think that's there. Maybe it's a setup. Maybe that's evil Wong. I don't know. Let's see. So he's like, don't do it, man. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, I won't. And he sends him off. Did we see the mug? Yes! Okay, so the mug says, oh, for fox's sake. Get it? It's a swear word, but a fox? That's pretty fantastic. All right. Would Doctor Strange have that, or is that swear word mug an evil mug? All right. I just like this theory. It might not be true. So he's like, I won't, and he goes away, and he's like, yeah. He gives him an evil wink. I'm suspicious. So he takes him downstairs to the basement, which he was very, very suspicious. But you know what? I'm distracted by the light show as well. This is a real beauty of visual effects. Woohoo! Maybe that's why he didn't ask too many questions when they got started. So look at this. He's like, oh, maybe that's why it's like Mephisto, because it's like, I like this evil Doctor Strange's Mephisto stuff. Okay. All right, so anyway, look at this. He's doing the spell. Benedict Cumberbatch is great at these hand movements. Look at that. Oh, man, look at that. He's multitasking. I absolutely adore it. And he's like, so everyone's going to forget who I was? And Doctor Strange is like, yeah, that's how the spell works. And you're like, I think you should have explained this. But, you know, when you make a deal with the devil, of course, he never explains the details, which is where he lives. So look at that. So he's like, stop talking. And they mess it up. And it looks like they run into What If with all that space stuff there, right? So they have all these swirling things, swirl. And they create a disaster. Okay, it's great. So I don't think that they did rip open the multiverse here. Kevin Feige doesn't make mistakes like that. Some of you were like, but I thought it was Sylvie. So I think the multiverse already existed, and so they're trying to make them be able to cross over into each other's, they're separate. So how do you get from one to the other? So I think that's what evil Doctor Strange, or incompetent our Doctor Strange, is up to. We'll find out which one he is. It's like, what just happened? Like, you got chumped, Peter Parker. So there he is in the mirror world, which is a great place for Spider-Man, right? He doesn't care what's up and down. Although he looks pretty cute there. He looks adorable. So this Doctor Strange is going after him. It still is an Inception ripoff. I'm sorry. All right. Oh, look, there's the Daily Bugle van. Like, whoa, what a story, man. Oh, so we're starting to see some Sinister Six team-ups. I got so distracted, I got excited about the Daily Bugle van. But let's talk Sinister Six. So that's obviously Electro, now with Yellow Lightning, which is more on brand from the comics. That Kevin Feige, he's a purist when he wants to be, and I think we all appreciate it. He's a purist just enough to keep everybody happy. So look, I think that's evil Doctor Strange. So they're on a train. And look, he's like, he's making that's not like parts of the train. That's like he's made different trains. That's pretty fantastic. So he traps him, he takes him off. Look at that. Woo, beautiful. And he's like, it's all your fault because you have two different identities. And he does that hand trick. But you see what Peter's holding? If you don't know what that is, I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's important. So he separates him into his superhero identity and his civilian identity. Pretty interesting. It's Peter Parker. They should have called this Peter Parker therapy Spider-Man therapy instead of Spider-Man No Way Home. So there he is. He's still got his iron arms there, and everything's going poorly. Look at that. Some kind of explosion. Happy Hogan is like, oh my God. I don't want to talk about Happy Hogan. I've heard some bad stuff about him, some rumors. So look at that. I do believe that is a Sandman and Electro team up. I'm already pretty excited. If we get full Sinister Six action, which of course obviously we should, the theater's going to go nuts. Although does everyone know the Sinister Six? Comic book fans are going to go nuts, but I wonder how civilians will feel. Are they going to be like, woohoo? Or are they going to be like, oh, that's nice. Where's some more MCU characters? So here you have the pumpkin bomb, and you have Willem Dafoe's laugh. Willem Dafoe has managed to not blab that he's in this movie, but so he looks like he has better technology, I'll tell you that. Boy, I rewatched Spider-Man 1 and 2 a couple of months, like a month or so ago to get ready for this. As I said in my trailer reaction, they really hold up. Except for Green Goblin, which is still ridiculous. As ridiculous as when the movie came out. Too Power Rangers-y. So I hope that they can fix that here. They can fix not the Norman Osborn scenes. Willem Dafoe is wonderfully cast, but the Goblin suit that was not a good idea. skewed too kiddie in my opinion. So this is where you have the voiceover with Doctor Strange saying, be careful what you wish for, Parker. That doesn't sound like our Doctor Strange to me. And then look at that shot. Jawline, oh, but still some adolescent acne. All right, so I wonder who he's talking to here. I did not see her listed in any of the other movies. I don't remember her character. So forgive me if she's shown up before. She looks great too. Everybody has great hair and makeup. All right, the hair and makeup department. Is that like a flannel suit that he's wearing? Where do you get such an expensive suit? All right, so anyway. That is pretty great. You gotta watch Spider-Man 1 and 2 to really fully appreciate. Usually I say you don't need to watch a movie to totally get these new ones, and you don't. But if you really want to have a good time, you gotta watch the Spider-Man 1 and 2. And probably Amazing Spider-Man 2, even though it's the lesser of the two films, because of course it has Electro in it. That's a pretty bad movie. All right, so anyway, boy, he looks a lot hipper, doesn't he? I mean, he looks kind of like the version from the Sam Raimi movie, but in de-aging him, they gave him a thinner, longer jaw, so he doesn't have quite the same look. One of the great things about Alfred Molina's Doc Ock was that he's still, in the first time that he played the character, is that he so delightfully seemed like also a fellow nerdy scientist. This guy seems a little too cool to me, but I don't care, because it's so great to have him back. His performance has aged like fine wine in Spider-Man 2. I'm so excited. So they did a great job de-aging him. Maybe that's one of the reasons they put the sunglasses on him. They're like, let's make our job a little easier, because it's hard to do the eyes. They're like, what if he wore sunglasses? Pats all around on the back. All right, so, and what kind of jacket is he wearing? He has a great look. Look at the look on his face. They really sharpened him up a lot. Alfred Molina never looked that sharp. He's always had a little bit of a gooby look, which makes him endearing. It's his look. He looks fantastic. So anyway, and he's like, holy crap. But I agree with you. He's clearly talking to Tobey Maguire. And we're going to be like, let's all just talk to Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland stands will be like, I hate you all. All right, so anyway, there he is. He strikes the Spider-Man pose. He's like, not my expensive suit. Spider-Man, no way home. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. It's going to be great. It's going to be real great. All right, so what do you think of my theories? What are your theories? What are you the most excited to see in this movie? Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.